Yes, good morning. It is Christmas List Raw. Today's video is going to be a little different than the norm. I'm going to give you an update as to what's going on with my court case and matter in Trinidad and Tobago. So first and foremost, for those that are not aware, way back in 2024, I was arrested and charged with sedition. It is a charge that is not often given in Trinidad. It's a colonial charge. Basically, it was created way back when they didn't want people to share any negativity about the country because locals would blame the government. So 2024, I touched down in Trinidad and Tobago for the first time. And I'm going to give you a little recap as to what happened for those that don't know. Then I'm going to tell you about my newest appearance in court, which happened only 72 hours ago. Way back 2024, I touched down in Trinidad and Tobago, and it was love at first sight. I really enjoyed the country. I still love the country despite what's going on with my outstanding matter. But touchdown in Trinidad, walking and talking to locals, everybody was kind, the food was good. I still remember day one, walking through the city, and some kids showed me into their hood.
Don't go straight? What happens if I go straight?
There's a hood too.
The hood?
About it too.
Yeah.
They call it.
What is the name?
They call it simple sugar. And I know what. There's a dread hood.
Yeah.
But then like more and things.
Okay.
Which was a gang territory, Rasta gang, if I'm not mistaken. Now, there's Rastas, there's Muslim, there's 6, 7, 8, 9, there's ABG. At the time when I first arrived in Trinidad, I didn't know any of that, and I really had no idea what I had in store. I bought a one-way ticket to the country and had a tiny little Airbnb room that was not much bigger than a closet. And day one, I get into the high crime area, Duncan Street. And little did I know that it was one of the roughest parts of the city.
They said this morning there were shots.
Yeah. Shoot back and forth.
Every day.
Yeah, every day.
It's no good for the kids to see this.
No good at all.
So I uploaded the video the next day, and I think I got like 100, 200,000 views in 24 hours, which is quite a big number. People were loving it. The locals were loving it. Trinis around the world were loving it because you often hear about Duncan, but nobody really gave you an inside perspective as to what it looked like and what was going on. And various people spoke to me on camera without hesitation. So then I continued on day two, and my comment section were like, go to St. Paul, go to Sea Lots. I bet you won't go here and there and etc. And I took that as a personal challenge. And basically day after day, I continued to go into these gang areas, these hoods, we'll say. And Trinidad is a very rough place. It's a murderous country, unfortunately, because there's very nice, kind people there, and I love the country, but it's murderous. And comparing them to countries like Jamaica and other countries I visit to, which also has a high murder rate, it's like in Trinidad, there's basically no rules. Like if you owe somebody something and they can't find you, they might shoot up your house or kill your mom or your daughter or your teacher. Often when you listen to the news in Trinidad, it's like murder after murder. It's not a surprise to have a day where there's 5 murders in the city, right? And I hate to be the bearer or dwell on the negative news, because Trinidad is a beautiful country for you to visit and vacation at. If you're not a gang member or you're not trying to buy drugs or prostitution or whatever, if you're not doing any of that, you really have no concern. Go to Trinidad, enjoy it. Go to Tobago, go to Carnival. I'm not speaking negatively upon it. I'm merely sharing with you folks what I went through. So let's say by day 14, I had gone through all the major hoods, the areas that, are seldom seen. Lots of guns were shown. And I'll be first and foremost to tell you that when I go into a neighborhood, if somebody's trying to show me a gun, I tell them, look, don't show me the gun. You're going to get in trouble. And or wear a mask, hide your tattoos. And in Trinidad, they were just brazen. They're like, no, we don't hide our face.
We have thing. We have thing. 90556.
Oh, that's the name, 223.
Yeah, them play.
Blackout. Sure about that. When you say blackout, what does that mean? What does it mean, blackout?
Blackout. Blackout.
Dark room now. It's no bed, it's no sick, nothing. That's lie, don't die. Dark.
Similar to Haiti, They said cops won't come around here. So it's never me directing them. I know some people think I go and say, guys, go show me all your guns so I can get more views. That's not how it works. These people like to brag and boast about what they have, and I think most criminals really don't think about the consequences. Like when you go rob a bank, are you thinking about going to jail, or you're thinking about, getting some money by robbing that bank? So no, I didn't ask people to show guns. And if you watch my videos, they're all available still on my main channel, Chris Must List. Type in Trinidad, you'll see a whole playlist. You'll find it. You'll see the guns. You'll see everything I'm talking about. And you'll hear quite often, I ask people, how can we bring peace to this community?
So point to me, so I see exactly where it is.
All the right there, so all the way you see, that whole dry piece of land there, that the bottom landfill there, all like the bottom there, that's where them living in the rubbish there.
So there's no way for peace between you two?
Nah,
community?
Peace by...
Impossible?
It's very important to me to ask that question. I didn't go in there like bragging and boasting about criminality and trying to make the criminals look like nice people. I simply went there and documented what I saw. Okay, the government got quite upset at me for doing so quietly, right? The locals love me. The government that was in charge, Mr. Rowley, he's no longer leader. Good riddance.
I'm not surprised that this issue has arisen, because it is something that people have an interest in. And once people have an interest in it, and you are technologically able to supply that interest and feed that interest, this is the kind of thing that will happen. Unfortunately, it doesn't present us. It doesn't show our better side. But in our population, like in other populations, we have some people who are engaged in activity that don't make us proud and even threaten our own safety and security. That's what that is. The people who are doing that, they're not doing it because they want to help us or they like us. They're doing it because it works for them. Right? They get likes, and the more ridiculous, the more violent, the more shocking, better for them. So they come and do it here. We are an open society. We are an open society, open to nationals and open to foreigners who are friendly to Trinidad and Tobago, Canadians, United States. If it wasn't him, it would have been somebody else. Right? And if the question you want to ask is, how come he could find them and we can't find them, is that they make themselves available to him. They don't make themselves available to the police. That's the first thing. Secondly, they too need to be out there, especially if there are no consequences. And we, in establishing consequences, while being an open society, we are governed by the rule of law. And our laws here permit certain things. You have to step very carefully. Information is not evidence. In the absence of evidence, you can't arrest people. And if you do arrest them, they have rights that you have to respect, and so on and so on. So these are all part of a wider web. And I don't think the country should be embarrassed or ashamed about it. I don't think we should try to fight anybody over it. What we should do is try and learn from it and learn of it and ensure that our security people find these miscreants, whoever they are, because they are threatening all of us.
He was the one that ended up having me put in jail. And we'll get into that, a little buzz around my ear, like I heard through the grapevine that the police were looking for me. It's not hard to find me. I was, when I came to immigration, I told them what home I'm going to be staying at, and that's the home I was staying at. So they contacted me. I don't know how they got my phone number, but they did. And they said, we want to bring you in for questioning. And I said, is this mandatory? Am I is this forceful? And they said, no, but we would appreciate it if you came in and told us about the gangs that you were interviewing. And I said, no, I'm not interested. I respect the police. The police are needed to keep the community safe, not only in Trinidad, but everywhere around the world. I know being a police officer is a difficult job, but I'm not a police officer. I don't work with the police, never worked with the police, have no interest in working with the police. I'm a journalist, okay? I have no diploma, no certification, but I don't need that. I'm self-proclaimed journalist. Hey, last month I got between 20 and 40 million views. People watch my shit. I'm a journalist, okay? So I said, no, I'm not gonna talk. They said, that's fine. So the next thing that came to mind, I'm like, let me go into the Canadian Embassy and get some information, recommendations. Tell me what I should do. And I sat down with them and I said, look, I feel like the pressure is on me and they want to talk to me about gang members. What should I do? And they said, Chris, you should leave the country as soon as you can. And mind you, this is like afternoon. I don't remember what day it was. And it's not like possible. I don't have money like to book a private flight. I got to wait until I can get an economy seat on the back of an airplane. As I'm leaving the Canadian Embassy, 2 people came up to me. And me being approached in Trinidad was a fairly frequent thing. I thought they wanted to take a picture and talk. And he's like, hey, Chris. And I came over, I shook his hand. I said, what's happening? How's your day going? He's like, well, I'm an undercover police officer and we really, really want to talk to you. And I'm like, I have nothing to say. In my mind, I'm like, tomorrow or the following day, I'll be on a plane. Let me just coast out. Right? I did nothing wrong. I committed no crime. I merely showed the world the problems Trinidad is going through. Mind you, shortly after I was released and allowed out of the country, we'll get into that, the government went worldwide and said we are under a state of emergency. The murder rate is too high. We must create curfews and create all these extra rules in order to put things in order. And I want to go back and also say, if you look at my playlist, I didn't only film gangs. I didn't only film hoods. I did a march with the mothers that lost their sons to gun violence. I went to the beach. I did the steel drum band. I interviewed the chief of police. I also interviewed like a few very high-ranking government officials. I partied. I did Juve. I did a lot of different stuff. People say I only focus on the negative. I don't only focus on the negative. It's that you're only watching those videos that are surrounded by negativity. Okay, so see the undercover, I say, no, I have no interest in talking about gang members. I don't know. I'm not a gang member. I don't know the gang members. I don't know where they live. I don't know their business. I simply film what I see, and you can find all that information on my YouTube channel. I go home, I'm a little concerned, a little worried. I talk to some friends, and they're like, yeah, it's pretty stressful. Long story short, the next morning, I get this. I look out the peephole and there's like 30 different police officers in like big bulletproof vests. Some of them have masks on. And they come into my house and they confiscate all my stuff. Okay, my camera equipment, my clothing, laptop, and me. And they bring me to the police station. At that time, I didn't really know what trouble I was in. I was being arrested for gang-related charges, for promoting a gang, for profiting off a gang, and 1 or 2 other bullshit charges. So I was questioned for, I'd say, a good 12 hours, maybe longer. I slept at the police station downtown. They put a little mat. That night I slept there in the gym. I had no representation, no lawyer, etc. After the questioning, they decided they didn't have enough evidence that I committed those crimes, so that they gave me a charge of sedition. And that's the first time I ever heard the word sedition in my entire life. They wrote it on a piece of paper. They asked me to sign. I said, I'm not signing guilt, but I'm signing acknowledgement. And I said, like, what does this sedition mean? And the police questioning me were like, they were nice to me. A lot of them appreciated my content. Even the arresting officer that signed the document that's still putting me through this court now, he would whisper in my ear, tell me things to say, like to try to help me. Be straight up. Like he would bring me and say, Chris, they're going to bring you into an interrogation. I'm going to feed you the questions beforehand so you can sort of practice the answers. I'm like, I didn't do nothing wrong. I don't have to practice the answers. I'm not a gang member, right? I don't promote gangsterism. I'm a journalist. I document it, right? When a CNN anchor goes and interviews a gangster, is he a gangster or no? Because he has a little diploma on his wall, he gets different rights than I have. This is now a different era we live in, right? People consume news the way I do news, more so than the old-fashioned way of picking up a newspaper, right? So I still proclaim myself as a self-proclaimed journalist that can't speak properly. So I'm held there. Then they give me sedition charge, and it's like a Friday, and it's a long weekend about to occur. So they put me in the St. Paul jail, a holding cell. It's not a jail, it's a holding cell. And they say, well, courts are out for the next 4 or 5 days, and you'll have a bail hearing. So initially I'm put in the holding cell. St. Paul's, just so you know, for those that don't know, is a 6-gang area. It's a rough neighborhood, possibly one of the roughest, definitely the most famous hood in Trinidad. So I'm put in there. The police officers at the holding cell love me. They're apologizing. Chris, I'm sorry you have to go through this. I know you didn't do nothing wrong. If there's anything that they can do, they're willing to help. And one of the rules about holding cells is like you can have food delivered to you. And because of my status in the country, by that time I had gotten millions and millions of views. Everybody was watching my content. Every day, either people, TJ, shout out to TJ and Johnny Bravo, people were bringing me food and restaurants was donating food. And it wasn't just for me, it was like for everybody being held. I'm gonna try to speed up this story. I'm held with a young man. He's about 17, 18, charged with a few robberies. His first time being held, and he was going through a lot of emotional distress. It was just me and him for the first day or two. It's a little cell, one toilet, no toilet paper, no bedding or nothing like that. It's a concrete block that you can sit on and sleep on. No complaints. I don't expect for it to be more, because I know some people are going to be like, it's jail. What do you expect? Right. I don't expect anything. Food kept coming in over and over again, so I would share it with those around me in my cell, in the surrounding cells. I think my first shower I got was maybe day 3 or day 4. Shit smeared on all the walls, gang-related, mostly 6 gang-related graffiti, very basic. But again, correctional officers, very good. Put a lot of effort into talking to this young man. I tried my best. There was days he would be banging his head on the walls. I would hold his head and be like, man, you can't do this. I said, if other people come in and see you, they're going to look at this as a weakness. They're going to take advantage of you. I can't take this anymore. Then comes this big Venezuelan.
Hey, calm down, man.
Day 3 or 4. Let me out. I won't say his name. I don't want to get him in trouble. And the other gentleman that was with me is like telling the correctional officer, like, no, please put him somewhere else. He was scared. We all became friends, the 3 of us. And we had to kick it and just wait around until a bail hearing. Now, I get a newspaper delivered to me by the correctional officer, and on the front of the newspaper is a picture of me, and it says, Chris Muslis working with police to identify gang members. Now, while I was just in jail for the last 6.5 days, this article was published in the newspaper, Saturday Express. Cops take Chris on tour. Canadian YouTuber taken for a drive in Laventil, East Port of Spain to identify gangs. That's a photo of me in jail. 100% unfactual. No, I did not go on tour. No, I do not work with the police. No, I've never worked with the police at all. 100% unfactual. But here's where we have a problem. Mainstream media should be trustworthy and should have credible resources. They don't. They didn't. Now, if you look at the following newspaper on the very back page, a little paragraph said a mistake was made. And that's it. A slap on the wrist. Where are the sedition charges for this author or this publication? How come I'm going through these charges and they're not? This is a clear, intentional death threat towards me. Never did I publish anything that would incite riots and in this country, city, etc. So I'm asking the public, why me and why not them? And it had a number like 26 gang members arrested. Complete bullshit, fake news. I never left that cell. The people in the cell can confirm. The correctional officers confirm I never left that cell. But they had this long article where I was picked up in a police car and I was driving around the neighborhood and pointing like, that's where that gang member lives. That's where that gang member lives. Complete bullshit. But they did this. And the government had a complete, what is the word? Participation in this with the newspaper and the the newspaper and the government. This was an attempt at my life, knowing I am with gang members in my cell and in my surroundings. They tried to make an attempt on my life by saying I work with police. Complete fake. I will be suing for good money. So don't think I forgot this newspaper. They apologized the next day. So it went from a front page article, full article, to the next day on the back page, they put a little retraction saying, oh, the information they provided was fake. So you said 26 people were arrested because of Chris Muslis. In reality, 0 were arrested. 0 guns were confiscated. Chris did not work with police. That will one day I will laugh and I will bathe in money. You tried to take my life by doing that. But guess what? The gang members are smarter than you think. They said, Chris, don't stress. We know you were here. They lie to do this to us all the time. This is the corruption side of the government. You want to get someone killed? You don't want to kill them? You don't want to get your hands dirty? Lie about them in the news, right? And if I wasn't as popular as I was, maybe my life would have been taken. Let's move forward. I get bail. CJ is my lawyer. Thank you, CJ. Most incredible human being on planet Earth. I owe him so much. They give me bail. I get released, and basically I have to give, or they've confiscated my passport. So even though they let me go out of the holding cell, I'm no longer allowed to leave the country. I'm not even allowed to go to Tobago. I'm stuck on the island. That was my only restrictions per my release. I would stay with CJ at his big mansion, which I'm grateful for, and I'm out. It takes I don't remember exactly. It took over a month, maybe 2 months, maybe even 3 months to get my passport back. So even though I was allowed to leave, I wasn't allowed, leave the holding cell, I wasn't allowed to leave the country. I had to keep appearing for court. For those that don't know, in Trinidad, court is virtual, so it's via laptop, but they still wanted me in the country. So on my third or fourth court appearance, they said, okay, we'll give you permission to leave, to go see your family, but we want you back in 3 weeks. So I left and I came back on my own cognizance. I could have stayed at home, right? I want to take this very serious. I don't want to stay at home. I have no interest in staying at home because I'm innocent. I did not commit any sedition. And for those that want to Google sedition, Google it. So you see how heinous of a crime it is. Initially, I was facing 2 to 5 years in jail. They've now lowered that. Right now, if convicted, I could still face 2 years in jail for what this so-called crime is that I did not commit. And let's jump forward. I came back, gone back and forth, stuck another month in the country. They won't let me go. And the last time I was here, and I was here, meaning in Trinidad, because they requested it of me, they came and arrested me again. Now they gave me some other charges of, they said in one video I put a diamond chain on. I'll put that clip here so you can see. I put a diamond chain on. They said that I was gifted the chain, and they were charging me with money laundering. They're saying that I put the chain on means that I'm laundering money for the gang. You see how ridiculous? Even anybody with common sense would know, Chris, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You can obviously see me giving the chain back. They didn't give me the chain. I was doing a video. The guy was wearing a chain. I wanted to show it off. So they gave me a new charge. And with that charge came deportation. So they're now deporting me from a country that I'm not allowed to leave. Let me say that again. I am not allowed to leave Trinidad. I don't have my passport, but they are deporting me because they're saying I'm not welcome in the country. Doesn't make sense. Still doesn't make sense to me. Had to fight it. Went to jail again. This time I went to a prison. I was held, I think, for 6 days in a different prison with mostly Venezuelans. They call them Venis. They were nice there too. Normally you get your ass searched when you go in jail by the correctional officers. The guy's like, Chris, I have too much respect for you. You don't have to spread your ass or lift your balls for me. I said, thank you. He said, you can wear your own clothes, but if somebody comes in to investigate, please put on the orange jumper. They gave me this whole side of the prison just for me. Basically, when you come into jail in Trinidad, the first 14 days is they want to make sure you have no disease or nothing contagious, so you're by yourself. Really, I was able to talk through the metal and talk to other people. And the funny thing is, not funny, but abnormal. The boss, the big boss of this unit was a transvestite from Jamaica. So you got somebody that wears lipstick and high heels, beating the shit out of everybody that bothers them. The doctor is a correctional officer. And that's what they told me. In there, they're please let the world know we have no doctor, we have no healthcare. So when it's time to do a blood test or pumping your yourself with a needle, it's like a police officer, a correctional officer with no health background. The place is a disaster, shit smeared on the walls, and it's almost like it was forgotten. And it's funny, as soon as I got in there, it's like they started cleaning up. The people were speaking Spanish to me, and I know enough Spanish to understand, mucho sucio, it's very dirty, and now they're cleaning, limpiard. Because of me, they're painting now all of a sudden because they're worried I'm going to see the reality of the situation in the Venezuelan jail in Trinidad. Okay, I was a correctional officer. I said, Chris, you want a phone? I can get you a phone if you want to. I thought they were trying to set me up. I said, I don't want nothing. Don't treat me different than anyone else. Let me just sit and rest. And I did a lot of that, a lot of showering. You know, there's not much to do when you're in jail. I had about 10 beds to myself. So I had multiple cells. They call it a bullpen, all by myself. I was the only one there. That's pretty much it. I got released because CJ came to my rescue and got me released. I was still stuck in the country after that. They finally allowed me to leave. Now let's jump forward. I go to court once a month, and it's virtual. It's from wherever I am in the world. Right now I'm in Toronto, but when I was in Guyana a couple days ago, I had a court appearance. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. I've done 20 court appearances, nothing happens. So about 3 months ago, we submitted a document saying that we're fighting, that this is unlawful arrest. There's no evidence that I committed anything wrong. There's no proof that what I did was seditious. So we are waiting for a response. Now, the prosecutor against me said, okay, I'll respond next week, and let's push this off another month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months goes by, no reply to our official request. Now, we had court 3 days ago. She replied 5 minutes before court, like no organization at all. The judge that's been like looking after my matter since day one got a promotion and is no longer my judge. So we were given a new judge. Now that judge, so the last year and a half has been like a waste of time. We've done nothing. Now the new judge says I need time to learn the case and understand what's really going on. The prosecutor, the DPP that's prosecuting me, now got I don't know, moved up on the ladder. So now she's no longer, the last appearance 3 days ago was her last time. Now she's going to become a judge. So a new DPP has to be brought in and go through what we talked about for the last year and a half. Mind you, I don't talk, right? It's CJ talking. And I'm in this situation where this could go on for years and years and years, a complete waste of taxpayers' money, no doubt. There are serious crimes and criminals in Trinidad. I am not one. I am one that, at all. But I'm going to continue to fight. They did give me the opportunity to plead guilty, like behind closed doors. Chris, say you're sorry, say you're guilty, you apologize, we'll drop all charges, done. And I said, no, I am not guilty of this crime. I don't want it on my conscience. And I will be looking after money. I want money. You know how much money I've spent in lawyer fees and bail hearings and 3 months lost away from my family that I can never get back? You throw bullshit charges at me thinking I'm gonna cave in to the pressure, to the stress. And it is stressful. It is very stressful. It is on my mind every minute of the day. Imagine you were going through this situation where you are facing 2 years in jail in a foreign country. Not easy. It's not easy at all. I'll be dead serious. Going to jail, physically, I'm not worried about being attacked. You know, if we got to fight, we got to fight. I'm not worried about that. But the mental anguish of being locked in a little jail cell with shit smeared on the walls with gang members that have committed real crimes, it's a mental thing. You know what I mean? I still, when I hear doors locking, and there's still memories that jump back to me being held in jail and continually being arrested. It's not easy. Let's jump to today. I will not plead guilty. I committed no crime in Trinidad. I am banned from Trinidad. People still comment like, when are you coming back to Trinidad? Thinking my matter is over. It is not. I am banned. I am not allowed back. But what came from the last hearing is this. The new judge that got appointed said, why isn't Chris appearing in court? Like, why doesn't Chris come to Trinidad, open his laptop, and appear virtually from Trinidad? And we tried to explain, not me, but the DPP and my lawyer, that I am banned from the country. He's like, what? How could they ban and deport you? And I didn't get deported. They went through the process of attempting to deport me. That got halted because there's other court cases. So I didn't officially get deported, but I am not allowed back until the court case goes forward. So the judge is like so dumbfounded, like, They deported you or attempted to deport you without talking to the DPP about your current charges? What is the science in that? Now, some people are going to say, Chris, you're in Canada. Forget it. Just don't go. Continue on with your life. No, that's not the way I'm going to raise my kids. And I'm not going to live in fear, right? Canada actually has a relationship with Trinidad that if I am charged, they could send me back. Or how about I'm in Guyana, a country I love so much, and they come and just grab me. I will not run from this problem. I'm dealing with this head on. So the new judge said they want to start the process of getting my deportation and ban removed so that they can bring me back to the country. Just hear this out again. It's a virtual hearing. The hearings are about 30 minutes. I do no talking, and I do a virtual. They're saying they want me to do that back in Trinidad. You want me to come back, fly to Trinidad for a 30-minute conversation on a computer from CJ's house for no reason. I don't talk. Mind you, the people that are charging me, the police officer, I don't think, let's say there's been 15 court appearances. I think maybe once he showed up. Every single time he's got an excuse, including 3 days ago. Oh, he's on vacation. You know, and the court appearance starts 30 minutes late. They can do whatever they want, whenever they want, right? I am the criminal, so they say, in this matter. I don't get any kind of privilege. I don't get to show up 30 minutes late. I can't say that I'm on vacation, right? I don't get that. What they do is it's a long game. They try to tire you out. They try to tire you into submission. They try to force you to claim a guilty charge when you're not guilty, right? I'm going to fight this because I know I've done nothing wrong. And again, for you to really understand this matter, you have to look at what the definition of sedition is. I don't believe in the history of the country of Trinidad and Tobago has anybody ever been convicted of sedition. It's that difficult to charge, but they throw it at me to make me fear. Right? But you're messing with the wrong guys, Trinidad. You know, we should be friends. There is a new government in Trinidad. That government actually has the ability just to fix the problem, but we continue to play this game and waste time, waste taxpayers' money. But don't worry. I'm in it for the long haul. And I pray, I'm not overly religious, I dream about the day I can return to Trinidad and Tobago with my family and enjoy the country as much as I would love to do, right? You're banning me from a country I love so much, and I have no hard feelings towards the country of Trinidad. I dislike the previous people that had me put in jail, knowing damn well I did no crime. I didn't commit no crime. I'm not a criminal. I'm a journalist. I'm a documentationer. I document reality. Sometimes it's pretty, sometimes it's not. For those that are offended by the content that I created, don't watch. It's as simple as that. If you think I'm only doing this in Trinidad, look, my beautiful country of Canada. I've uploaded maybe 10 videos. And 10 videos are about our drugs and homelessness problem, our overdose rate. So it's not like I'm treating you different than I'm treating my own country. I document current events and news, and that's what I was doing. So at this very moment, I'm banned. Our next court appearance is in a month and a half. Lastly, the new judge gave us very good ideas. Said to CJ, said to everybody that we should really look into, and I appreciate the fact that he did this. He said we should look into the rules for media. Like, don't media and journalists have special rights and privileges when recording? And the answer is yes. So he asked CJ to find previous cases where something similar happened. They didn't have to be charged with sedition, but journalists that are charged for documenting reality. I didn't set up reality. I didn't tell people what to say. I didn't bring out guns. And he said, find other cases like Australia or first world countries in which this happened, find the outcome. And if you can find that enough people got released, then you can use that in your court case. And wow, I'm like, the judge is telling us that? So CJ and I have some work to do. That's it. That's up to date, exactly what's going on. My case in Trinidad. I'll be back. Hopefully, I'll be back with complete freedom. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. This is today's Raw channel. We'll see you again tomorrow where I'll be somewhere out on the streets. Christmas list. Hit that subscribe button, please. Thank you.
Good night, Chris. How are you going? Any message for your supporters and your subscribers, sir?
I'm happy to be outside.
How does it feel to be out tonight?
Feels good. Feels good. I have faith that the justice system will do me right.
Hey, hold on.
not only does in terms of the Trinidad and Tobago experience, but this is what he would have done if you looked at his videos when he went to Haiti, to Belize, to Jamaica, to Pakistan, to India. He is going across the world and going into some zones where the average person who is even living in this space will not dare to go. But Chris, he's welcome, and he's given, I would say, exclusive access. He's able to capture the truth in lots of ways, and many sometimes might be taken aback as to what they're seeing on YouTube, but it's the lived reality here in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, Chris, must-list content creator, he's been there. Chris,
yes,
welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Many would say, Chris, you're a brave man. You're putting yourself in dangerous scenarios. Talk to me about that kind of consideration and why you, because you could go to taking the flora and the fauna and the sand and the sea, but you seem to, when I look at your videos, to put yourself in the zone, in the source, in the heart of what's happening in terms of the inner city and inner workings of a country. Yes. Is that by choice?
100%. First and foremost, I've been a world traveler the majority of my life. And the scenarios I now put myself in with a camera for YouTube are the exact same scenarios I was in before I had a camera. So, like I've been to the conflicts in Palestine 10 years before I had a YouTube channel. So I mean, I'm not motivated by views.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that when a house is on fire, I run towards the house opposed to away from the house.
Yeah. What seems to be the common thread when you've covered Belmont, Mova, Beetham, Laventil, all the zones here in Trinidad, yes. Duncan Street, you've been there. What seems to stand out as the common thread across all these different factions?
You know what? Unlike any other country I've ever been to in my life, there's a few words that are used: love, peace, stigma, over and over and over again. I've never seen it. It's almost like everybody's gotten together and rehearsed what to say, and it's amazing to me. But the common thread is I see a lot of very young people, somewhat lost, no real direction or motivation for anything outside of what they're currently doing. No aspirations of becoming an engineer or anything outside of the life of what happens in their little block.
And seeing that you would have met with these guys and seen it in real time, what do you think? I mean, you've been here for a couple of weeks now. What could be a solution? What could be a great, if you could speak to someone,
yes,
and bring forward a recommendation to bring these guys away from this kind of lifestyle, what would it be?
So rather than me formulate an answer, what I can do is I can put together everything I heard as a collective from every neighborhood and sort of regurgitate it in a very brief format, right? People need opportunity, and the opportunity has to be within their neighborhood. You know, a lot of people are targeted and marked just for the area that they live. So people will say, you know, go get a job in the city. Not possible for a lot of people. From what I heard, you know, the contracts that are given out by the government, and I can't confirm or deny, are very limited for the community. One gentleman I spoke to said once in his life he's gotten a 1-week contract. Now, I am not the one that's going to blame the government. I believe that the government does share a part of this. Parents probably, to me, are the number one person to blame, and I mean right from birth, they're responsible for keeping their children on the right path. So I'm not to blame the government solely. I don't have the answer, but what I keep hearing is there's no opportunity. And the average man or woman wouldn't understand this. I don't understand this, because when I grew up, I can go on any street I want in my city without repercussions, without worrying about being shot. You know, the truth and the reality of the situation is most people won't understand. These 14, 15-year-old kids, if they cross the wrong street, they're instantly a target. And even younger than that, there's kids 5 and 6 years old that if they're traveling outside of their neighborhood to school, they could be targeted by the parents as well.
Were you taken aback by the kind of weaponry you saw?
No, well, this is what I do, right? So no, I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah. Your final words, as it were, because I know you're going to be around in Trinidad for a bit. We're going to take a break and end things up, but just your words to Trinidad and Tobago before your departure, because I know you'll be off to your next adventure soon.
Sure.
What's been your biggest takeaway from this country?
The people are incredible. What I remember most, if you ask me a year or 2 years from now, what do I remember most about Trinidad? The people, the kindness. It's not going to be how big the guns are. You know, I welcome and I promote Trinidad to a lot of people. My audience is 5 to 7 million people a month watch my content, and I want them to know there's more than gangs and guns. That's going to be my take home from what I witnessed.
How can folks looking on, might be seeing you for the first time, find your content?
Yeah, Chris Must List on YouTube mostly, and that's my slogan I go by. I'm not your average tourist.
And you're not?
No.
You're not at all. You be safe.
Yes.
Chris, what's your next adventure?
For now, I'm just enjoying my time here. Let's see what happens.
Okay, for sure. Chris, touching base with us again. His access, his vlog really gave us in real time a look as to what's happening within the inner city, and I'm sure many would have more or less shared with you, probably more than they would have even shared or put forward to a local journalist or a local content creator. So Chris, thanks for capturing that for us, and I guess it's a chance for us to look at it and find ways to turn it around. That's what I'm thinking.
It's a must.
It's a must,
yes.
Yeah. We take that break, we come back and wrap things up on this Monday morning. See you soon.